A busy summer for the LA Galaxy gets just a little bit busier with a here we go at 6 a.m. local from Fabrizio Romano announcing Sergio Roberto to the LA Galaxy from Como on a free transfer. I'm really excited about this signing, and like I do with every video, I'll take you through his strengths, what I think he can provide for the Galaxy, but also his weaknesses, because no player is flawless, and while I am super excited, there is both sides to every story. And what today has been, which has been really busy for the LA Galaxy, we had the Chucky Lozano announcement just a few minutes ago. I'm currently on my lunch, but I love talking about the Galaxy and I love getting content out for you guys. So let's just jump into it with what this player is, and that is a 6. The LA Galaxy obviously have had a very busy summer, and one of the busiest summers that I can recall in a long time. And one of the moves that they made was moving off Edwin Cerrillo to Club America. But before that, the big move for the LA Galaxy was making a push for Casemiro. And so in two ways and not just one, Sergio Roberto is the replacement for that Casemiro type of signing, but also the Edwin Cerrillo replacement. He will come in, he will probably play the 6 if I had to guess. I think that's the place that he's played through the later stage of his career. Obviously when he played for Barca, he was brought up as a midfielder, but also played right back when he was at, like, I guess, the peak of his powers. Many people are going to know him from maybe one of the greatest footballing goals ever against PSG in that comeback where it's a nice little dink through ball from Neymar and he slots it home. And like I said, one of the greatest comebacks ever. So that's where I want to start this, is we were talking about a player that not only has talent, right? He is just like Riqui, comes from Barcelona's academy, but he's a player that has winning pedigree with him, and winning has followed him wherever he has gone. And while that it's been at Barca and he's played a part of MSN and some of the greatest soccer teams of all time, he also helped Como build what was a winning project, and he was their captain, right? He's been captain of Barcelona and Como. It's not like he's just some other guy in the locker room. This is a leader. And one of the big things that the Galaxy have missed since the championship season with Gaston Brugman and Marc Delgado and Riqui is just that sense of leadership in the midfield. We've skewed very young. We've skewed towards maybe being more aggressive. And Sergio Roberto is the exact opposite of that. He's not a shin kicker. He's elegant. And what he does provide is not only leadership on the pitch, but behind the scenes. I don't think it's a coincidence that we're signing Ricky's best friend right before Riqui is about to come back. It just makes sense where this lands. And for a Galaxy team, which during the coverage of this entire season, we've talked about them not having leadership, this is a feather in the cap of a team that will have multiple leaders in terms of leading by example, leading by play. So that's like really the main thing that kind of comes out to me is, obviously with the age being 34, you're not getting like a new spring chicken. It's not like this exciting youth prospect that we're like all going to be glazing over in that regard. But what this is it's a leader in the locker room who can set standards in a midfield that is really young. Like right now in its core, the midfield for the LA Galaxy, if we list off the players, is Sanabria, who's U22, Winder, who was brought in to be a developmental piece, and Parente. Like, we're not talking about a youthful movement that can go on and win championships. It's a youthful movement that needs help. It needs somebody to come in and be a leader. And while Edwin has been a player that has gone through that development, I don't think he was ready to be the leader of a midfield. And we saw that. And ultimately, that's why they moved off him. But now you just drop a Champions League winner, a a La Liga winner, and a guy who has taken Como from being just a team to being a Champions League level team in terms of leadership. So that's my big thing with this, and I think it ultimately is why I'm so excited about this. Similar to Marco Reus, the standard of this club needed to be taken up a notch, and I think when you sign players like this, right, when you start to stack standards on top of standards on top of standards and pedigree on top of pedigree, you raise the bar and you raise the floor of what this team is. Now, talking about what he does on the pitch, because he will be filling the 6 role, he also can fill that right back role. You're going to be looking at him as a 6-8 hybrid. I know that's not what everyone wants to hear, but that's what he is. I'd like to think of him as a Gaston Brugman replacement. If we're going like for like players, he's good on the ball. He can progress the ball forward, but he's not like your destroyer 6. He's not going to be getting involved in a ton of tackles and doing a lot of this stuff. Looking at his stats from this season and looking at his advanced stats, his defensive contributions, he's only in the 49th percentile, right? So you're talking about a player who likes to be on the ball, Might not be the best in terms of covering area and space. He is 34. But he will give you productivity in terms of passing. And I think that's really where, in terms of chance creation and building out, this is where he's going to be the strongest. Throughout this season, and even going back into last year, the one thing the Galaxy have really struggled with, and the thing that Greg Vanney has really struggled with, is playing through transition, but also going from your own third, right, in your own box, especially off goal kicks and restarts, and getting the ball progressively up the pitch faster, getting it there faster. During the championship season, it was kind of like having a cheat code in GTA. You just spammed a couple buttons, Riqui Puig got the ball, brought it up the field, and then you were gone. Even with this Riqui injury, the Galaxy have needed to learn to get the ball forward in different ways. And we've, this year and recently, have seen them go more direct. This is a player that will allow you to get the ball from your own third, from your own box, to the other team's box through passing progression. And he is going to be able to get the ball off of the center backs, turn, face, get out of pressure, and get the ball forward. And the Galaxy have really struggled with that this season. And Edwin Cerrillo in particular really struggled with that. He wasn't able to get the ball up the field in a fast enough manner, but also he was pretty sloppy. A couple times this season, he would just pass the ball to the other team, they would immediately counter, and they would score on us. And that was a big problem for Greg Vanney. You could see it in his way, but he just had no other solutions. And so this gives him another solution to this puzzle. That's really the two big areas of strengths for Sergio Roberto. He's going to give you ball playing and progressive numbers, and he's going to give you not necessarily output in terms of goals or assists. I don't think he's had either of those in the last two seasons with Como, but what he will give you is the ability to almost throw like a curveball at a team where the Galaxy can play both a possession style of football, but also transitionally. I think he can strive in both, and one of the things that you see a lot from players that play in the Serie A, but also in the Liga, is their ability to understand spaces a little bit better. It's less Premier League or MLS where it's a lot more combative and physical. So the thing that will get him moving and get him honestly in great spaces is just his IQ. That's one of his main strengths that we talked about at his time at Barca, but also at Como, is he's a very intelligent footballer, and that's where he's going to raise the level. If you look at the Galaxy midfield today, Sanabria and Winder and Parente aren't like these midfield maestros. They're not geniuses in terms of their IQ. A lot of the times, Sanabria is in the wrong spots, or Winder is in the wrong spots. And having a player like Sergio Roberto will iron out some of those deficiencies, where he's going to put them in better spots by being the player that tells them where to be. Like I said, he's a leader. He's a captain. His IQ is phenomenal. And that kind of comes from Barca graduates. That's just what they do. That's what they produce. And so those are the strengths. Now, on the flip side, we do have to talk about weaknesses. One is the age. He's 34. He's old. This is a temporary fix to a longer-term solution the Galaxy will need to fix. We're going from a young player in Cerrillo to an older player in Roberto. That does have some limitations to it, especially this season. I really struggle to see how a midfield three, especially with Chucky coming in, and I'll talk about this more on the podcast, but if you bring in Chucky and he's playing in the front three with Kyogo or Klaus and Paintsel, that means that you have to move Marco Reus back into the midfield. And so we've seen this before. If you play Marco Reus with another older player, you really struggle to attack spaces and find spaces and cover ground. And it asks a lot of a guy like Sanabria. And maybe this is where you ask him to take a leap. But regardless, he's not a spring chicken. He's gonna need help. And I think that this is where Greg Vanney's gonna have to get into his locker and find ways to make him more efficient in this regard. There's also a possibility that Marco Reus moves back to the bench and Roberto comes in to start. We don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. But that's honestly one of my biggest concerns, is having a midfield three where two of them are above the age of 33, realistically, it's dangerous. You put yourself into dangerous positions. And if we sit a little more back, we play off the counter, like that could be great. But also, this is one of the things that I'm not 100% sure with the signing is, while this is a Vanney player, it doesn't really align with the moves that we've made, right? Chucky Lozano is a counter-attacking player. Kyogo is a counter-attacking player, and Roberto is not. He's a guy who wants to be on the ball, dictate play, and move the ball forward through the thirds. And it'll be interesting to see where that kind of culminates. It might be a good thing. It might be a bad thing. I don't know. And so there More of my concerns come around age, obviously, because he's just older, right? And that should be everyone's concern with this signing, is that he's just a little bit older. But honestly, the other thing is just fit and style. I think he works for the LA Galaxy, and the Galaxy should be happy that they are signing him. And that's why I'm happy. This is a good signing. At not a DP level, it's a great pivot from Casemiro. It's a good replacement from Edwin Cerrillo. And so I'm happy. Today I am happy with this signing. And we'll see how they attack the U22 spot. Like I said, I'm on my lunch, so I just wanted to get this stuff out to you guys as quick as humanly possible. Like I said, I'm really excited about this signing. I'm excited to see what he brings to the LA Galaxy. And from there, we'll move on. Let me know what you rate this transfer out of 10 in the comments below. For me, I think this is an 8. I just think the fit, the style, and everything just works for me. So let me know what you think in the comments. And yeah, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe to the C.O.C. Network. We have daily content coming out all the time about the Premier League and the LA Galaxy and the wider MLS sphere. So thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.